Our Be Seen, Be Heard Portland initiative is underway once again. We spent the last few months hearing from you about your specific concerns in the city.
Yeah, it's been 1 year since we first sat down with Portland Police Chief Bob Day, and much has happened since then. And there's perhaps never been a more critical time for the future of the Rose City than right now.
People want laws followed. We're not trying to belittle anybody or hurt anyone. We do follow laws.
Let's stop the nonsense, get back to law and order.
I want to make sure that my car is taken care of because, I'm going to need my car in order to live.
More safety. I used to go to Rose Festival all the time, and I won't go right now.
I think that if they were to put more money into, even more to the police, to allow them to cut down on crime.
I would prefer not to be out when it's darker just because it can be a little scary.
If they don't do anything about the homelessness and the crime and the clutter and the filth downtown, Portland is going to get in the urban loop decade.
A full year may have passed, but the community's frustrations remain high. And after hearing from you, Chief Bob Day says it's clear the city has a long way to go. Do you think there's a misconception with the folks we heard from there? I mean, are they not understanding the progress that's been made?
No, I don't believe so. I often say that, we cannot not believe our experience. If you're in pain and I tell you you're not in pain, that's not very helpful.
But the chief says there has been progress, pointing, for example, to the Auto Theft Task Force, which helped reduce car thefts from 1,000 per month to 400 a month.
400 cars a month is a significant decrease from 1,000 cars a month 18 months ago. But if you had your car stolen last week, that really is irrelevant that I'm telling you that we're doing, 60% better.
While he says crime is still up compared to 2019, it's down compared to last year, with homicides trending lower by 50%. But a new, more progressive city council was just elected, and some councilors are suggesting cutting the police budget.
We're going to show up and do our job to the best ability regardless. This is not a situation where, we would withhold services, but if there is a reduction in our budget, there will be a reduction in services.
Is it too much to say that there are hints of defund the police 2.0 out there?
Yeah, I think it's a very fragile system right now that we have in Portland. I think when I was brought in the fall of 23, Mayor Wheeler at the time said, we're on the precipice. We were on the precipice, and the jury was out as to whether or not Portland was going to survive.
All of this comes at a time when the chief says the overall criminal justice system remains critically out of balance. How do you solve Portland's public safety problem? If you do your job and arrest the suspects, they go to the jail and they're immediately released, and then they don't show up for their court date. In other words, the revolving door situation that we see all too often.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to be frustrated by that.
Yeah, it is. It's very discouraging. I mean, we have officers just the other day who made some arrests and ended up, having to release them and cite because of, some of those breakdowns that you're identifying. But the reality is, that's been a challenge for many, many years in terms of differing degrees, differing levels of that. And I'm really committed to, understanding what I can and cannot control. And right now, I'm passionately focused on the Police Bureau doing its part.
How concerned are you about a so-called doom loop here in Portland and the role that public safety concerns might play in that?
Yeah, I think one of the observations that's come to light in the last 20 months has been the impact of public safety on the overall vitality of a community. I think Portlanders took that for granted for a long period of time. If people don't feel safe, they don't want to engage in the community, they're not going to participate, they're not going to show up, they're not going to invest, and those resources pay for many of the other things that we enjoy, whether it be, streets without potholes or cleaning or behavioral health services, et cetera. And then that's how the system's designed. And, we can agree or disagree and argue about whether that's the best system, but it's what we currently have. So it's what we rely upon. We should probably try and act within it.
What's your biggest frustration with the job?
My biggest frustration with the job is the fact that I just see so much opportunity and I can't get to it all. But I'm hopeful, and I think that in a year or 2 years, however long this takes, to see Portland thriving again, growing again, if I can be a small part of that, I'm all in.
And Chief Day says he's encouraged by the community input and would like to see more of it. Meantime, the full interview has been posted online on the Fox 12 app.